Acropolis with its magnificent Parthenon. There's nothing like the passion of a guide to connect ancient Greek history with Greek mythology and the feelings of going back into time. So let's begin today in the heart of modern Athens, the Olympian, where we find the temple of the Olympian Zeus, the god of the sky and king of the gods. This colossal temple was one of the largest ever built in the ancient world. It was started in the 6th century BC. It was finally completed in the 2nd century AD. It consisted of 104 columns, of which only 16 remain. One of them actually is lying on the ground. It got blown over by a windstorm about 100 years ago. It stood the test of times over 2,400 years, and a gust of wind blew it over. We'll just go to the next slide. A little later, I'll talk a little bit more about the Greek columns. These are Corinthian-style columns. We can identify Corinthian columns by the layered leafy sections in the top. And later on the Parthenon or on the Acropolis, we will see two different styles. Now, on the way to the Acropolis, your clients will pass by Hadrian's Gate, which was completed in 131 AD, relatively new for Athens. It celebrated the arrival of the Roman Emperor Hadrian and thanked him for being such a generous benefactor to the city of Athens. And I'm going to point out the tour buses in the back. This picture was taken in April. And look at the tour buses already are out. More than a subtle reminder, agents, that your clients need a booked tour for Athens. And there, sorry, we have one more slide of the front view of Hadrian's Arch. So now we're on the way to the Acropolis Hill, and there she is, perched majestically atop the Acropolis Hill is the amazing Parthenon. Now, it's 2 years ago, almost to the day, that I arrived in Athens on my birthday. I was whisked away by two of the Boutique Escapes members that you see on the screen in front of you to spend a glorious afternoon at the hotel bar atop the Hotel Grand Britannia, enjoying wonderful views of the Parthenon, being wined and dined on my birthday. And there she is. So the Acropolis Hill, historical, cultural, geographical high point of Athens, a place of worship, a place of refuge. After passing the entrance gates, which you see in front of you, your guide will lead your clients along the pathway to the top of the Acropolis. There is disabled access to the top. However, your client should know that the Acropolis Hill at the top is quite uneven, and if your clients have some mobility issues, that might want to take that into consideration. One of their first stops might be the Dionysus Theater, which actually had a capacity of 17,000 people. It was a theater. The orators would speak here. There would be theatrical presentations. And the seats that you see in front here were obviously reserved for people of higher social status. And I'm still looking, but I have not heard yet whether or not those seats came with chair pads, because I can't imagine sitting on a stone chair for 3 hours watching a theater presentation. Continuing on up to the top of the Acropolis, and I might mention at this point that it is about a 500-foot climb through a series of switchbacks and some steep stairs to the very top. This is the Odeon Amphitheater. Seats about 5,000. Today it is still used for concerts, theaters, cultural events. In fact, the Athens Festival hosts the Athens Festival from May to October. Continuing on up, your clients will pass through the gateway to the Acropolis. Notice the steepness of the stairs to get up there. Clients will follow the same procession from the city to the religious heart of the city, to the top of the Acropolis. That was followed thousands of years ago. Looking back through the gate, you can see the incredible views you have of the city of Athens and the Agora, which we'll see later. And then continuing on a little farther, we're looking back. This is in April, and you can see how busy it is. Again, pre-booked tour, a must to visit these important sites. The Erytheum is the temple to Athena and Poseidon. Has probably one of the most famous photo ops, and you see that in the foreground or just at the front of the temple, the porch of the maidens. These are actually pillars that are holding up that part of the roof. You'll see that some of them are missing. They are actually housed in the Acropolis Museum. And I couldn't stop taking pictures of it. I mentioned earlier the different types of Greek columns. So we saw the Corinthian before. This is the Doric style or the flat style that you'll see often on the Acropolis. At times you will see this style here. This is the Ionic, the scrolls. And now we come to the jewel of the Acropolis, the legendary Parthenon, temple of the goddess Athena. The Athenians have adopted her as the patron saint of Athens, the daughter of Zeus, according to Greek mythology, and the goddess of war. The Parthenon was built in the 5th century BC. Today, obviously, we only see the ruins of a once magnificent temple. Imagine the Parthenon intact with its roof, with its painted facade, and its decorations in gold. Views from the top of the Acropolis of the surrounding areas are stunning. This is a view, we saw this one earlier, the Dionysus Theater. We also, from here, can see the relatively modern Acropolis Museum, which could be part of a guided tour, or boutique escapes can include just entrance tickets to the Acropolis Museum. Down below in the foreground, we see the Agora with its surviving temple. This was the marketplace. It was the center of political, commercial, and social life in Athens. Orators would give speeches. Walking through the ruins of the Agora, your clients are walking in the footsteps of Socrates. As much as the Agora was a place to be in ancient Athens, today the place to be is the Plaka, the old town. A pedestrian area filled with boutiques, cafes, bars, restaurants. Certainly your clients will want to dine in the Plaka. And after dinner, if your clients are lucky, your waiter might bring your clients a few glasses filled with some ouzo, which is more than a subtle hint to pick one up, to certainly be replaced before your clients depart Greece. Wandering through the Plaka in the evening is a special experience. It's an animated area. Everything is open, and of course, the views of the Acropolis lit up are spectacular. And of course, we end with the Parthenon. If your clients are in Athens 3 or more nights, we would suggest a half-day trip. A possibility would be a trip to the Temple of Poseidon on Cape Sunion. It is an approximate 1-hour drive. This temple was dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea. And could there be a more appropriate location for this temple than seaside? I'm now going to pass this over to Sharon, who's going to get us to our first Greek island.
Hello, everyone. Now we're getting ready to head off to Mykonos. So we would be arranging for your clients to have a ferry to go to Mykonos directly from the Athens port. If I could have the map, Susan. Thank you. As you can see, the straight line from Athens to Mykonos looks quite long. It looks almost 5 hours. There are 2 high-speed ferries. They are approximately 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. And there are only 1 or 2 per day. So this is not like a bus that comes and goes. Your clients have to have a ticket, and Boutique Escapes will be arranging whatever we think is appropriate for their itinerary. Now, when you arrive, you will see there is an island of Mykonos. Now, the center of Mykonos is separate from the beaches. That's life all of its own. This is a beach hotel. So one of the first things that your clients will see is the whitewashed buildings, the sand, the beach huts to protect yourself from the sun, and the blue sky. The views from there can be absolutely stunning of Mother Nature herself. As we move on to the next slide, we can see more of the hotels, all being whitewashed, and of course, the deep blue sea meeting with the sky. It's quite an incredible arrangement to see how they work so well together, both being a deep shade of blue. As we move on, there is a boardwalk in the beach, and your clients can take an evening stroll when they arrive, just to kind of shake the cobwebs out of their flight. We like to put clients in an area called Platos Dialos, and we find that that area tends to be a little bit of everything. It's got a few restaurants. Of course, the hotels all have restaurants, but it has an activity on its own that you're not just trapped in your hotel. So when you wander through the beaches, you can see different sites. For one thing, this is the view from one of our hotels. Again, you're seeing the whitewashed buildings, the blue sky, the sand, and the deep blue sea. And as you move on to more views, again, look at the beach. You can just walk right out. You can see the beautiful sand. And our personal assistant, Evan Bellaconia, was there in early May, and we couldn't get him out of the water. He was so enthralled with the water out of Mykonos that he was just living in it. And that was early May. So as the season progresses, you can imagine how many people will be enjoying the beach and the sunshine on Mykonos. And as we progress, I think we have, now, this is a view of Mykonos town. And now here's a little Agent Blue tip. You can see those windmills in the back. There are 7 windmills all lined up. Those were where the mill was functioning. The grist mills were functioning for the grain that was brought in by the sailors. On the island of Mykonos, there are 16 windmills, 7 of them all clustered there. And I'm sure that you or your clients have seen pictures of Mykonos, and those windmills will stand out. They were built by the Venetians back in the 16th century. So they go back quite a ways. And now as your clients are leaving their beach, and what are they going to do with their evening? Well, here's a suggestion. First, they start at this arch. What you're seeing is Mykonos town. Now, a little thing about Mykonos town. Mykonos town is the center of Mykonos Island. The Greeks are not particularly thrilled with calling it Mykonos, Mykonos, as in New York, New York. So they call it Chora, spelled C-H-O-R-A. Just in case your clients tell you that they would like to go to Chora, you've got to jump on them, because you know now that Chora is Mykonos. So as you can see, the view here is quite stunning. This is a classic view, many photographs taken, and we will send your clients there on a portion of their evening as a suggestion for them to be the one to take this photo and have it for their personal memory. And then after, they leave that stunning view and they head out to a restaurant. Look at this place. The view is stunning. This is about 7:30 at night in the first week of May. You can see that some people are wearing windbreakers clothing because, yes, there is a wind and it can have a chill. Mykonos is known as the land of winds. So you might want to tell your clients that even though it's nice weather, they might just want to pop in a windbreaker or a small jacket just in case. This is a restaurant that is called 180 Sunset Bar, and it is without a doubt one of the most popular that we've been to. And after they're done with dinner, what's next? Well, that's easy. Take the 15-minute stroll and go down to Mykonos town. Once they're in Mykonos, that's where life happens. It's party land. Could you back it up just 1 second, Susan? Once you're in Mykonos, a lot of places they can see, they can do. There are bars, they can go dancing. Mykonos town is a popular spot for celebrities, not just for now, but years ago. The likes of Elizabeth Taylor, Brigitte Bardot, Grace Kelly, and in today's world, Leonardo DiCaprio, Maria Carey, Paris Hilton, they love Mykonos town. Rumor has it they've been spotted multiple times throughout the years, simply enjoying Mykonos town. Now, as we move on, there you have something called Little Venice. Little Venice is a part of Mykonos town. It's called Little Venice because it is waterside, and it's only 3 feet, 1 meter above sea level. Little Venice is quite unique and one of the most photographed places in Mykonos. It has little winding alleys. They can do some shopping. They can have a bite to eat. And of course, there is the sunset. So Little Mykonos is absolutely a location that you should not miss. It is part of the character of Mykonos. And as your clients are wandering through Mykonos, I'm sure the colors are of question. So here's just a little tidbit, a boot tip, an ancient boot tip, just so you can keep it in your back pocket when your clients are speaking to you about Mykonos. First of all, you notice everything is white. The reason the houses are white is because of temperature. It can get quite warm, and white is going to reflect the heat. And that's why everything is whitewashed. And then, of course, you'll see colors, but you'll see 3 colors: red, green, and blue. The blue means it's a sailor's home. The green means it's a farmer's home. And the red means that it is the home of someone in a different occupation. And that is why you see a consistency of colors, and all homes are white. As we move along, again, this is Venice Beach. You can see the boats all in the harbor, the whitewashed buildings, and you can just imagine what it will be like to walk around an area like this, camera in hand, as well as your appetite, and just trying to see what you can find of Little Venice that intrigues you. As we move on, again, another perfect view. Look at those windmills. Built by the Venetians, 16th century. They have so much history, and you've got all that history tied up in a photo with beauty behind it. It is just something that is absolutely picturesque. And now, as you continue on, it's time to move on. Now, we've all thought about the different islands of Santorini and Mykonos in the Cyclades Islands. So Mykonos was known for the beaches, and as you saw, they were incredibly beautiful. Now it's time to move on to what just might have been Atlantis. Many scholars believe that Santorini was Atlantis, the pearl of the ocean. So how are you going to get there? Well, the most efficient way is to go by ferry, and the ferry is 2.5 hours. Now, why do I say the most efficient? Because you cannot fly direct from Mykonos to Santorini. You would have to go Mykonos, Athens, and Athens, Santorini. And we all know what airport times mean. So therefore, take the 2-hour ferry. Your clients will be thrilled that you booked them on that 2.5-hour ferry, and they will have a beautiful view and enjoy the sea on their way to the island of Santorini. And for that, I will now turn it over to Susan.
Thank you very much, Sharon. So we've now arrived in the area of Santorini. Santorini is, in fact, a number of islands. The Santorini island chain comprises 5 islands. The main island, and the one that we all call Santorini, is actually called Thera. It's pictured here. It's also the name of the main city. Now, let's take a look at the water outside of this area. Why take a look at the water? So here's the ferry arriving at the port. And what you're looking at on the right, of course, is the sea. But more importantly, we are looking at, when we look at that water, we are looking at a caldera. What is a caldera? A caldera is a crater. It is not a volcano. It is a crater. In fact, it is a former volcano that had its top blown off, and usually violently. This caldera that created this chain of islands, the Santorini Islands, specifically the area of Thera that we're looking at now, happened thousands of years ago. And geologists tell us that of all the volcanic eruptions on this planet, this one was more than likely the most violent. And so thousands of years ago, this violent eruption created this amazing little chain of islands. One side of this island that we're going to call Santorini, as everyone else does, one side of this island is very full of cliffs. The other side of the island is flatter, more of a regular flat coastline. So why do people go to this island? Santorini is croissant shaped and known for these whitewashed buildings, known for dramatic views, stunning sunsets over Ia, and picturesque villages. It is perhaps known as the most spectacular of the Greek islands because these buildings look like they are clinging to the side of the cliff. Looks like they'll tumble down at any moment. So very beautiful to look at, and something that is pretty much unmatched in the rest of this island chain, anywhere in Greece. Not only, though, is it beautiful, it comes with the price tag to match. And why might hotels in Santorini be so expensive? Or for that matter, why might hotels on these Greek islands be so much money? Unlike Hawaii, which is an island, clients can visit Hawaii any time of the year. And we have people going in wintertime, we have people going in the summertime. That island can function all year long. The Greek islands are not like that. Hotels on the Greek islands, for the most part, 95% of them shut down for 6 months of the year. So let's, for argument's sake, say beginning of November to the beginning of May. Sometimes they'll open a little bit later in May, maybe mid-May, but they are generally closed for 6 months of the year. That means that for 6 months of the year, they have to make hay while the sun shines, and their prices match. So why do they increase their rates? One, it's been closed all winter, and two, everybody wants to go to Greece. And as agents, you know, we've heard out there that Greece may open. It looks like the Minister of Tourism has said they will open May 15th. We've had a lot of movement going on in requests for Greece, and I'm sure you have as well. So if they open up this year, mid-May, we can expect to see a lot of people flocking to the Greek islands. Here we have a picture of Fira. This is the main town. Now I want you to keep in mind that the island of Santorini has about 15,000 permanent inhabitants. During those 6 months when it's open for tourism, 1.5 million people converge on this small island. So let's take a look here. Why do people want to go? So we're walking along the boardwalk here, and if you simply look through this beautiful gate, you see these beautiful whitewashed buildings perched on the side of the caldera. So in fact, the edge of Fira, Ia, all these little villages, that is the edge of the caldera. And these buildings are perched on that edge. I want you to also know, here's a nice tip for you. Clients who ask for a hotel cliffside have to be prepared for stairs. And when I say stairs, I don't just mean a few flights. They could be doing as many as 50, 100, 150, 200 stairs, depending where they are placed in the hotel. So the hotel entryway might be near the top, but the room for the clients may be many stairs below that. That means that they should be in good shape. If you've got an older couple going, somebody who has mobility issues, you don't want to recommend that they stay cliffside. Honestly, I would say it's more for somebody who is fit. Porters will take the luggage down for them at the hotels where we would put your clients, but the clients themselves will have to walk it. There are no elevators. This means if clients who have mobility issues want to go to Santorini, we would have them just opposite this end of Fira, and on the other end of Fira, it is flat. So many of our clients will stay in that area where it's flat. You can still enjoy views. It would be views of the Aegean Sea rather than views of the side of the Caldera Basin. Still beautiful. And your clients would be able to walk to this area. So once they're in the town of Fira, you can walk down, clients can walk down to the port. If they're coming by cruise ship, they're going to arrive down at the bottom here anyways, and they can take a funicular up, which will get them to this little area to walk. And you can see that there are stairs here. Sometimes it's a little bit rougher if you're walking, but this gets you to the town of Fira in one direction and Fira Stefani in another direction. Both towns are loaded with restaurants and tourist shops, There are a few streets with some nicer higher end stuff, but here's where you're going to find the heart of why people go. Here's where you're going to find some nightlife. You're going to find beautiful restaurants and shops open through the evening. From Fira, clients can walk to Fira Stefani, and from there they can walk on to a little town called Imrovidi. Imrovidi and Fira are the two towns where many clients will stay. This will still give them views of the caldera. You're looking at the beautiful caldera, this basin down below here, the water and the cliff, the edge of the caldera. This is taken from a hotel in Imrovidi. To the left, you can see Fira. So not far away, but to walk it, it's about 30 minutes. By taxi or by bus, it's only about 10 minutes from Fira itself. Another beautiful view from one of our hotels in Imrovidi of the basin here, just spectacular views of the water and some of the islands that the volcano created. But definitely you can see how this side of the island, this west side, is the cliff side. Now, we often recommend to clients when they are in Santorini to take a catamaran cruise. Clients can do an afternoon cruise, or they can do a sunset cruise. We can have them, or you can have the clients on a group, semi-private, or a private catamaran or a private yacht. So depending how many clients you have, we may suggest you've got 10 people, let's do a private for them. Generally, the cruise will include a meal, and it will include stops at some very lovely beaches that are hard to get to by car or by walking. This is a sample of what you might find at a white beach. This is a sample of what clients might find at Red Beach, obviously because of the color. On the other side of the island, we find something that has black sand and black rock called Black Beach. These red beaches tend to be south of Fira, even though there's red rock very near the town of Ia. So here we have clients who might enjoy taking a private drive or some taxi to an area that will get them down where they'd have to walk to Red Beach, or they could just take the catamaran. We could have them on that where they will see wonderful other beaches and they will have time to stop, swim in the water, and enjoy what they're looking at. The sunset cruises, of course, have them watching the area up northern part of the island. So we were in Thira. We spoke about the area of Thira. I mentioned that clients can go to this little village of Ia, and here's an agent boot tip for you. You'll notice it's spelt O-I-A. It is pronounced Ia, E-E-Y-A. So that'll give you a bit of a heads up on your clients when they tell you they want to go to Oya. You can let them know and just gracefully say, oh, Ia, when they ask for this northern part of the island. So how do clients get there? Clients can take a private driver, they can take a taxi, or they can take the city bus. The city bus is about €5. It can be caught right at the bus station in Fira town. And my suggestion would be to let your clients know they should get there early, because that bus will fill up, especially as you get from early May into July and August and early September. To take that €5 bus, everybody wants to be on it. So have your clients get on that bus early, get themselves a seat. The first stop is Imrovidi. Clients don't have to get out there, but just so that you know, agents, when I talked about the town of Imrovidi, it's approximately here, the dot that you see here. That's one of the bus stops. It then has clients carry on to the town of Ia. Meanwhile, they're passing this northern part of the island, and they will see that on the right side, there's not much. It's a little bit of overgrown grass, and that's about it. Finally, they're going to arrive in the town of Ia about 30 minutes later, and this is where the magic begins. Ia is the most spectacular and the most well-known town on the island of Santorini. One of the first areas your clients will arrive at after they leave the bus or leave the driver is this square with this Greek Orthodox church. And right away, we can see the blue and white that Sharon talked about. Whitewashed ceilings. We see the blue, in this case, blue domes, and of course, the Greek flag. So we see blue and white all over the place. Clients will not be able to take a vehicle down to get to the caldera edge. They have to walk it. and it is a beautiful walk. You meander through lovely little mazes of streets, passing restaurants and shops that are in absolutely perfect condition. There is no graffiti, there is no garbage. It is very well looked after. Here's one of the images of the little shops that they'll pass. This is a little archway clients would go through, and everybody has to go through this way to get to the viewpoint. So here is the Instagrammable moment for your clients. They're going to get down to this point where they see the caldera edge, they see the whitewashed buildings, and of course, the very famous domes of Ia. And we see more here. It is just a moment where people are snapping constantly, taking selfies, taking photographs of other people. This happened to be a super hot day at the beginning of May. And although there were tons of people there, it was hot. And I remember our personal assistant wrapping his head in a almost a towel like a scarf so that the sun wouldn't beat down so hard. But it is super hot and beautiful, just absolute beautiful place to enjoy the weather. I'm going to show you about 17 seconds of what your clients might experience for culture as they walk down. So again, right at the entrance, right at the edge of the caldera, absolutely beautiful. Sorry, shut that off and go to the next slide here. And of course, the magical blue domes, depending what direction your clients will be looking, this is what they'll see. And you might recognize this. It's often a puzzle that are in stores. You can buy these, a puzzle of the Greek islands, and it is Santorini. Of course, the one that everybody thinks about when they think about going to a Greek island. Of course, take a look at this magical view as the sun goes down. Ia is known for its sunsets. The sun will set behind Ia, and it in fact changes the color of the buildings that clients are looking at. They become almost a pinky orange hue as the sun sets. So Ia itself can be busy during the day. It also will get very busy around the time of sunset, because that's when a lot of tour buses will drop people off. They want to watch the sunset at Ia. So if clients want to see Ia when it's not as busy, they would have to wait until the tour buses all leave and drivers take clients back to Fira and the regular city bus takes people back. If they stay longer and have dinner in Ia, it may be worthwhile, because then they'll be able to walk this picturesque little village in the evening with fewer people. If your clients want to stay in Ia, of course it can be done. If Santorini is expensive to stay in, if it's expensive to stay in Fira and in Imirovili, then it is even more expensive to stay in Ia. So depending on the budget and the time of year, we can suggest clients stay in Ia. Again, another view from the rock, and we're going to take a look. This just lets us know that the Venetians, again, settled the area. This is a wall, a Venetian wall. But what I really want to show you is starting of sunset. So here we have a restaurant overlooking the beautiful Caldera Basin. Continuing on, we can see how the sun is beginning to change the color of the buildings, the sky itself. Everything becomes more of a pinky hue. A little beautiful little street of a little higher end product in Fira. Still an absolutely beautiful place to be is Fira. Whitewashed buildings. You can really see how the houses are, and hotels really built on top of each other on this rock. And now from Fira, we're going to head over to the beautiful island of Crete, and I'm going to turn it over to Sandy.
Thank you, Susan. Crete is so many things: charming historical towns, spectacular and usually unpacked beaches, pristine water by rugged coastland, food, hiking, ATV, and World War II sites. Should clients think of adding Crete when they go on a Greece vacation? Absolutely. Boo tip here for you agents out there. If your clients are going to go to Crete after being in Athens, fly them in. It's a short 1-hour flight. But if they're going to go from Crete to Santorini, you want to use the ferry. But getting to Crete from Athens, definitely their best way in is going to be that short flight. Now we're going to talk about regions. The favorite region of ours, or one of our favorite regions, I should say, is the Hanya region. And you'll see it on your screen on the left side, the northwest corner. This is a region and with a town of the same name. This is, again, purely influenced by the Venetians, as it was actually sold to the Venetians for 100 marks just after the Fourth Crusade. I don't know how much 100 marks would be in today's money or what it was back then, but I'm thinking I could afford 100 marks. How about you? I think so. Now, how to pronounce Hanya, which is C-H-A-N-I-A. It's basically a guttural ha, but I leave that out sometimes and I just go Hanya. But Hanya itself is one of these Venetian style towns where if your clients stay there, they're going to see Ottoman influenced, Arab influenced, and of course the Venetian. All of these things are street after street, and you'll see the old town coming up. This is one of the Greek Orthodox churches in town. You'll see palm trees, or your clients are going to see everything reminiscent of a beautiful Mediterranean island. So let's take a look at these streets. Narrow, tiny, almost a maze of streets in the town. And of course, because it is the historical center in the old town, this is where Boutique Escapes would have your clients. So you can see some of these hotels that are going to be down these streets, pedestrian only. So clients may have to take their luggage, you know, a 5 or 10 minute walk. But look what they come out to. These beautiful tiny streets. And right there would be a perhaps hotel in that blue entryway. So all of these little corners are things that we want your clients to see. Have right across from them a little shop selling souvenirs, or their perhaps favorite place to get some great Greek food. And of course, in the evening, the great thing about Hanya, and you can see in the distance, is its harbor. So imagine your clients dining al fresco, just soaking in the vibrant electric atmosphere of this town, along with locals, because just like any harbor front, the locals also want to go here and take in and soak in this vibrancy of the harbor front. Now, we're going to talk about food in these areas. Gorgeous beaches. This beach is, oh, here's another great shot of the harbor. So you can see the promenade right there and a beautiful place to sit. So Hanya being one of our absolute favorite towns for your clients to be in, and only 4 kilometers to one of the best beaches in the area. So this next beach shot, you're going to see some umbrellas, some beach chairs. We had talked about in our Southern France and our Italian webinar in Positano about renting beach chairs and umbrellas, Sorrento being around €50 for a half day or 80 to 90 euros for a day rental. This beautiful beach and one of the most spectacular of the Hanya area, less than 20 euros to rent a beach umbrella. So clients can grab a taxi from their hotel in Hanya and make their way to the beach for the day. 20 euros or less to rent a beach chair. Just spectacular. Bring their towel from the hotel and take in this beautiful water. Shallow water, clear water, great for families. You can see some of the great mountains in the distance, the White Mountains of the Hanya area. But then there's somebody playing in the water with their children. There's a man out there on his blow-up beach float, which I love to bring myself when I go to the Mediterranean, so I can soak in that right from the water's edge. And then we're going to go on to beautiful pink beaches of the area. Many beaches in Crete have a beautiful pink stone, so they get this great Instagrammable photo. Again, look at the sand, look at the water. You can see why when you think of Crete, think of putting your clients near one of these beaches. This is all about Crete, the beautiful beaches, and of course, specialties of food. We can't not mention food as Boutique Escapes because this is one of our favorite things to do ourselves when we go to a European country. Very many specialties here. We're talking Cretan salad. We're talking fresh seafood, just like any of the towns that we visit in the south of France or in Italy. But Greece, these are islands, so surrounded by water, they're going to get the freshest seafood. We've got some calamari, some crab cakes. Of course, we've got souvlaki and famous feta on a Greek salad. I could just bite into that right now with some fantastic Greek beer. So one of the things that clients can do when they're in Chania is doing a food walking tour, where a local is going to take them around and show them all these fantastic Greek treats, the tzatziki sauce that's so famous to have with souvlaki. But something they can also do is look at specialties of desserts. They have fried donuts soaked in honey and topped with nuts, pastries filled with custard, beautiful pies with cheese that are deep fried and then soaked in honey, and drunken chestnuts, one of my personal favorites. But cheese is a staple in Crete. Clients can do a food tour, a day food tour actually, to see cheese being made, to have lunch at the cheese making facility. And they also have their famous raki. They're what the equivalent would call for Italy would be grappa. It's made from the lees. So after wine is made and they've fermented, they've pressed the grapes, they have lees that are left. And from the lees, they ferment this and they make what their grappa is, which is raki. It's a celebratory drink. So a restaurant may offer this to your clients as a welcome drink or after their meal as a thank you. Celebrations for births, for weddings. This is the #1 celebratory drink in Crete. So something that your clients can definitely have when they're on the island of Crete. Now, while we're speaking of food, I want to just touch base on cooking classes and give you what we call an agent boot tip. Boutique Escapes offers cooking classes in Italy. In France, we may put in a macaron class. In Paris, a cooking class in Provence. When your clients go to Greece, we don't typically recommend cooking classes. So unless your clients actually say, I want a cooking class, we don't recommend it, because Greece is all about the outdoors. They're spending their hard-earned vacation dollars going to the islands. They're taking a 15-hour flight. Cooking classes are not cheap. They can be upwards of $200, $250 a person, and they're indoors for 5 hours. I would rather have your clients take the catamaran tour that Susan talked about, have a barbecue on the catamaran, maybe do some snorkeling, go watch the sunset in Ia, take a wine tour with a sommelier in Mykonos. Outdoors, they're going to see some wine tasting outdoors. They're going to sit and look over the caldera in Santorini, not to spend so much time inside doing a cooking class. And how often are they actually going to make that when they get back home? Are they really going to do souvlaki as a staple in their meals? Are they going to do moussaka, or are they going to make something that they've made in Tuscany or in the south of France as one of their meals when they have friends over to their home? So again, we really don't, unless your clients are asking for a cooking class or they're on a culinary tour of Greece, we don't recommend doing a cooking class. Save that for another part of Europe and put in something in the beautiful outdoors of Greece. Now we're going to take a drive. We're going to have your clients, if they're in Greece, in Crete, longer than 3 nights, what we would recommend Chania, or 2 nights, they're going to go to the other side of Crete, which is the Ulunda area. This is a smaller area. The town of Ulunda has approximately 2,500 people, whereas Chania has over 100,000. So clients, in our opinion, would spend more of their time in the Chania end because they've got more to do. Tours leave from there. They've got more of a smaller historic town to go to, whereas in Ulunda, much smaller. This is the kind of VIP area where your clients have only 5-star hotels to see, where famous people might go, the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Although the town itself does not have it, your clients can't do group tours from here. None leave from Ulunda. Only private tours, or they would have to rent a car. What they could do is take a 30-minute sail onto the island of Spinalonga. Now I want to show you this. This is the harbor front of Ulunda. You can see how much smaller it is than Chania. Chania is a better tourist town. So if your clients do have a longer time, we would put them in Ulunda. Or if your clients are going with family and want really just a total R&R vacation, not much touring, just settling in and doing only beach, this is where we might have your clients or your families going. So they can go to Spinalonga, which is an island, 9-minute drive, but they can get every 30 minutes, there's a boat that leaves to go to Spinalonga. It's an uninhabited island. The clients go to swim, maybe to snorkel, just as a day excursion from Ulunda if they are staying there. It's something for them to do, gets them out into the pristine waters, and it's always nice to do a boat ride in Greece, anywhere on one of the islands. So this is one of the boat rides they would do from Ulunda. I believe that's it for Crete. You can see a great view back to Ulunda from Spinalonga on this. But again, look at the color of the water. Crete and Mykonos, Santorini, they are all about doing things outdoors and in the beautiful pristine waters of the Aegean Sea.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. And once again, we're going to mention copyright on the photos, dreamstime.com and from Boutique Escapes. Sand, are there any questions there?
We have no questions. We've just got a few chats.
Oh,
Oh, here we go. Yeah, sorry, there I see it under the chat. Sorry about that. So what would we recommend for a mother-daughter who want beach and mom gets motion? I've got clients like that, and I do in fact fly them to the islands, because rather than have a bad experience, it's better to have clients just go back to Athens as a hub to get their flight. So if they're going to go to Mykonos and then they want to go to Santorini, a second island, we would fly them back to Athens. They just stay at the airport and then they get their flight to Santorini, and then Santorini back to Athens for their flight back to the US, or again, flight to Crete, and then Crete back to the hub of Athens and back to one of the islands. Yeah. But motion sickness is something that many people have. So thankfully there is flying between the islands, however, having to go back to the hub of Athens.
Right. So even if it takes longer, it'll be worthwhile because you don't want to be sick when you're on your vacation. Just make sure it's in there in the itinerary, and then clients run with it. There's nothing shocking about it. They'll know ahead of time that they have to go back to Athens to catch that new flight. I think it's a great idea for people who aren't able to handle the water. And some of those newer ferries are absolutely quiet, but a client, if they're on that ferry and they realize they can't handle it, there's no escaping it. So better to know ahead of time and not do that ferry. And the hovercrafts vibrate even more. So better to stick with what's going to make everybody happy. Any other comments from
yeah, so we've got you cannot use the Dreamstimes photos, but definitely if you're going to be offering a Boutique Escapes package, you can use our photos. It would be best, agents, if you contact one of us at Boutique Escapes, because then we can actually put something together for your clients, or even give you a prospectus trip to offer to clients to the Greek islands. And I believe, Peter, we have a Greece prospectus. Is that right?
I believe we do, yes.
Okay, so if you want to give Peter at teamboutique.ca an email, he can send you out one of the prospectuses that we have for Greece. And for the best beaches, it depends really on your clients. If you've got honeymooners going, we like to recommend Santorini and Mykonos. If you've got families going, Crete is definitely going to be a great spot for your families. The more information that you can give your Boutique Escapes contact, the better we can suit and tailor make a trip to the Greek islands for your clients. That's the bottom line. Give us as much info as possible.
I do want to mention one more thing. I mentioned prior that for 6 months of the year, those hotels are closed. What happens because of that is that instead of having shoulder season, high season, and another shoulder season, in Greece, they actually have something called shoulder season, high season, high season, and then another high season after that. So there are 2 high seasons outside of the high season. When is high season? Usually it's the last 2 weeks of July and the first 2 weeks of August. That will do crazy things to the price tag of a package. It will do crazy things to hotel prices. And right now we are finding, because the government has said they're going to open, and they said, even though it's dangerous, we're going to have protocols in place, and people have to follow these three rules ahead of time, which are either you have to have vaccination documents, you have to have a COVID test 48 hours prior that comes clear, or you have to have an antibody test 72 hours ahead that shows that you still have antibodies. All of this is written on the Greek website. But for now, this is what they're saying one needs. And my understanding now is that prior to coming back to the US, your clients will have to have a COVID test. So still lots to learn about this opening that's coming up. But we do know that things are starting to fill up as we go on and we look for something for clients. We're starting to see a crazy movement in Greece. So something for you to remember if clients come to you and say, where can I go in Europe? Yes, Greece is opening, but that should really be looked at soon before those prices go crazy for 2021.
Right. And for Canadians right now, we can't go anywhere anyways. So that's US citizens that they're allowed to fly. But Canada, as you know, we're still what I call in our pink zone, which is if we get back, we have to quarantine. So as you know, our Prime Minister is really saying, stay home, don't go anywhere yet. And they will let us know when they're willing to open it up for Canadians to travel outside.
Perfect. Okay. Anything else to add here, folks? Team?
We've said it all.
No
It's
further
all been said.
questions. No further questions.
Greece is the word.
Thank you, Rebecca. And which island? Somebody. Oh, you're welcome, Jennifer. I think which island would be your choice for? Does it say? Maybe I'm looking at an old one.
Yeah, you're looking at an old one. So
oh,
again, the
best
most information you can
Americans.
send us, we'll place your clients on the right island unless they have Santorini's a bucket list for me. We will make sure they get their bucket list. But
right now,
the more information, the better.
Somebody asked about beach islands. We didn't mention all of them, but another really big favorite is Paros. Paros is all beach. Naxos is nearby. It's a very green island, also has some beautiful beaches. But in my mind, if somebody is going to go that far away, go to the island that's big for beach, if you're looking for beach, and that is Paros. We have some beautiful hotels that have stunning views and are only about a 10-minute drive from a small town. So you're not going to find the big towns of Hania or Fira. You're going to find a smaller town on an island like Paros, but certainly very well known for beaches. So just send a request and we will get that looked after for you. So thank you everyone for those questions. Thank you for joining us. It is 1 o'clock, so I think we are going to end here. And as Sandy said, we do have a Greece prospectus ready to go. Send us an email and we will send that off to you. Anything else? I think we're going to end here and say goodbye to everyone. Have a great Thursday and an even more beautiful weekend.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye now.
Sorry, I'm still closing it.
Greece is the word.
And I'm sorry, I want to stop.
We need some music, Peter, while we're waiting.
Yes.
Not quite